Good evening, welcome to my channel. My name is David Okun. I'm talking about the cost of living. I've been talking about the cost of living for nearly 2 months. I've been looking at the cost of living from a different point of view, and I've been looking at now. I'm looking at militarism. I'm actually looking at the war in Ukraine. I'm doing that because I think these things are responsible for the cost of living. The cost of living is a crisis in the UK, a crisis in the world, the crisis around the globe. The cost of living is a national crisis. It is also a global crisis. I spoke about globalization in terms of the cost of living. And if you have been viewing my, watching my videos and following all the videoing, you'll see that I've been actually talking about these things, and I will be talking about them over and over. And I'm not saying when I'm going to stop talking about the cost of living. What I'm trying to say is that I'll be actually talking about the cost of living a lot. I'll be talking about the cost of living um, indefinitely. I will be attempting my to try my best. I will try my best to explain the cost of living in different perspectives in terms of different dimensions. We are now talking about militarism. Militarism means wars, means people fight, individual fight as I in the military system. Military system is a system of the state where you have different fighting forces, the army, the navy, the air force, and all the rest of it. The intelligence service. It is global. It actually exists in every country. It exists in the UK. It exists in America, Ukraine, Russia, in every country, in developed country, in developing country, in Africa. Africa should at least be more familiar with the military system because there's a lot of military activities going on in Africa. Military coups, political assassinations, and a lot of people die in the process. Mainly, the people who die in the military exercises are actually civilians and innocent people, people who are not really involved in the conflict. They are victims. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They are in living in their lands in Africa. They are living in their lands. In other parts of the world, they are in their homes in Ukraine. Like when Russia came and attacked Ukraine to start a war in Ukraine, a lot of people who died in Ukraine were actually civilians, people who are actually not involved in the war, and that should be a crime against humanity. And that is what Russia has done in Ukraine. It's been killing civilians. It's been destroying homes. Some of these people became homeless. They are very poor. And some of them actually fled Ukraine to run into exile. That is actually the impact of the war. And the war became global in the sense of the cost of living. The war in Ukraine created the cost of living indirectly and directly, and created a fuel crisis in addition to the crisis created by COVID-19. Brexit in the UK and Brexit beginning in the UK affected Europe. Europe actually is a major power in the global economic system. And therefore, what started in the UK is Brexit. later on. I haven't actually spoken about Brexit specifically in terms of the cost of living. I'll leave a comment below if you think I should talk about Brexit. Brexit simply means Britain as a country decided to leave Europe. They voted in a referendum to leave the European Union, which the UK was a member. Now, as I speak, the UK is no longer a member of the European Union because it has left, and that is called Brexit. Brexit is actually Britain exiting the UK, the European Union. And that created a problem, a lot of crisis in the UK. And in my opinion, the Brexit was manufactured by the Conservative Party for political reasons. Because every time the Conservative Party has nothing to say to British people, they use um, immigration as an issue. They try to force immigration as a political and as electoral issue in the UK. That is my opinion. Leave a comment below and let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for my channel to my channel and support it. I need my channel to grow into a bigger project so that I gain visibility. If you don't subscribe to my channel, my channel is going to remain small. And if I don't grow big, people are going to miss my channel. There are a lot of traffic. A lot of traffic on the YouTube. Probably billions and billions of viewers. And it moves very fast. It's in traffic. It's really, really, really intense. So visibility, you can just get lost. People won't see you. And subscription is very important in attracting visibility because if one person subscribe, it's most likely they are going to show, they are going to appear, they are going to be visible on around my channel. The subscribers are going to be visible around my channel, and if they are visible, they're going to attract other people, especially people connected to them socially in the social media, because this is a social space. The social part of a social media is a social networking system. If you are there, probably your family will also be around, next to you, connected to you, but mostly your friends, especially your best friends, will be connected to you. The same in the Facebook, the same YouTube, Instagram, all the social media system. It's about visibility. You need to be seen. The more you're seen, the more people engage with your channel. The more you grow, the better the value and the facilities to do with your channel. The more useful your channel is going to be. So subscribe. I know a lot of people want to subscribe. People who know me, past my family and friends, and people I work with in my community in different settings. There are so many people I know, thousands, tens. I think I've been connected to even hundreds of thousands of people, especially online. But they forget. They forget to subscribe. They keep telling me, "Oh, we're going to subscribe," but they actually forget. And time is money, and the social media. Because I'm recording a lot of video, I want people to watch it, and I'm doing a lot of things to improve. I'm so grateful for those who have subscribed. I'm grateful for those who are actually aware. People who know I'm there. People who actually listening to me. People who watch my video. I'm really grateful. Some people actually taken upon themselves to even do some sharing of my video. Sharing my video is very important. And if you're a YouTuber, if you are actually an established YouTuber, and you watch my channel, and if you value anything I'm doing, and if you think you can collaborate with me, there's something called collaboration. Leave a comment below if you know what collaboration is. It is I think it's a media concept. people who play music, who act, who writers, and YouTubers. They talk a lot about collaboration, working with other people, partnering. Working. Helping you to support you. You support them. So if any of the bigger YouTubers, if you're out there and you think this video is useful to you or useful to your community or is educating members of your community in some way, support me. Find a way of contacting me. I don't know how you're going to do that, but I find that it's easier to contact me privately via Facebook, and I think LinkedIn is also good. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm learning to do a lot of things with my videos. I've been speaking to my niece, a young person. Both of them are young people. I've been talking about my nephew. I've been speaking to another YouTuber who is also a young person. Little things to do to improve the performance of my video. I'm not saying that because it's just like I'm really new to this YouTube systems, and it's going very fast. And we have been existing now 2 months. We have been operating active 2 months. My channel has been since 2012. If you go onto my channel, you see about me, about what my channel is about. I'll be updating things there. I've actually existed for 12 years, and I've done absolutely nothing. I've done nothing, and I only started being active. It's less than 4 weeks. It's less than 2 months. It's about 3 weeks, I think. It's about 5 weeks or 6 weeks. Definitely, it's less than two months. I think it's six. It's coming to 6 weeks now. Slightly, probably more than 6 weeks of doing this project. So it is learn every day, and that's why I make sure I do at least one video every day. That's why I try to look at materials. I just thought now about Brexit, because Brexit has been very significant in causing the cost of living. So I'm trying to really set a background. I know there are so many people, when they see the cost of living, they want help immediately, especially in the UK. I will be doing that. I have been doing that. There are videos I've actually recorded earlier. The very, very earliest video, I recorded them specifically, actually, talking about specific helps in the UK. And I also pointed to where you can find help online. Go to the government website and go to, if you're in the UK, go to Citizen Advice. Go to places like Shelter. Go to the local authority in your area. Go to also the website of your local Citizen Advice. There's a public website for Citizen Advice which you can access freely for everyone. The same with the government website. You don't need you don't need any access code or anything. It's free for the public, and you can use it. You can actually contact sources there, and if you are actually in need of help, the best person to help is you. I'm not saying it's easy, because we have services within the local authorities, charities, and statutory bodies. Statutory bodies are actually government agencies, but also complemented by charities, local charities. These are actually doing their best with very limited resources. The government is not giving them enough money. Basically, that's it. These are some of the best trained, the best developed infrastructures in this country. It's a world leader. An organization like Citizen Advice is a world leader. It's the biggest advice service in the UK. It's one of the best places, one of the best institutions in the world. Unfortunately, because it is a charity, because it depends on government money, public money, so to speak, and because the government has changed policy and its attitude also, towards public service. In my opinion, government attitude to public service is bad, especially the conservative government. Conservative government have been running the UK for 12 months, for 12 years. And for 12 years, they have been setting policies such as to destroy, in my opinion again, to destroy the public sector for political reasons, for ideological reasons. Because you see, the thing with politics in the UK, in the US, in Australia, in Europe, there is a partisanship. They also work like wild animals. Like they aren't in packs. Conservatives around the world work together. It's almost like a conspiracy. I fall short of suggesting a conspiracy. But the facts are there. And the history is also clear that politicians work in certain ways. If the Labour Party, especially in a system like the US, there are the Labour political party, such as the Democrat. The Democrat is actually an equivalent of the Labour Party in the UK. They are actually described as the socialist area, the socialist elements of political party system. They are socialists in the sense that they practice capitalism in a socialistic way. I discussed in the other videos the question of socialism. I didn't really talk about socialism as much as I talked about capitalism. I talked about capitalism very specifically because capitalism is the system of rule, of governance, of politics, policy, laws, of society. It affects the cost of living more than, actually, it's the only cause of the cost of living. And in some cases, I've also argued, especially in terms of the widespread violence associated with the political system. Violence is not just militaristic. Military create an emergency situation, such as you see in Ukraine, such as you see in the Middle East, in Africa. Because I've been looking at a military outfit, a Russian military, which has been fighting intensely in Ukraine, and I've been exploring its existence, its actually activities around the world, its history, its behavior. I've been looking at the material. You can get this material from online, from the internet. On the internet, you can find them, and you can always read about them. And you can go to YouTube channels. You can watch my videos. You can watch other videos about anything, pretty much. YouTube is big, it's growing, and it's such a big place. It's such a fantastic place to visit, and you can actually be an expert on any topic. Watching videos on YouTube is so educational. It's also so entertaining. Probably, if you think my channel is entertaining, then it's probably the least entertaining channel you will get to see, and that's why. Going forward, because as much as I'm talking on, I'm actually handling a very serious topic, and going forward, probably I will see how you might be entertained. Entertainment can be really costly. The more the merrier. When I get more traffic on my channel, probably I will be doing more. Maybe visiting sites, maybe organizing events. I can't really think. Maybe I can show you cooking. Cooking is entertaining for so many people. Food. People like food. Maybe I can invite friends, and they can cook here. We can do shopping and come and cook, and take a photograph, a picture, a video, do a video on that, so that people learn how to cook different things. These are all ideas. Leave a comment below and see. Let me know what you want to talk about. So let's talk about social media, especially YouTube is really important. If you're an accountant, for example, you want to learn about accountancy, or you can you can increase your knowledge, professional knowledge of accountancy by viewing YouTube. Visiting YouTube and watching at videos. If you're a lawyer, if you are an economist, you're a social worker, and you are community worker, you are a teacher. If you want to learn something, you can also learn things. Mostly you learn it for free, but there are maybe other channels where you may need to pay for some videos, and really, and because YouTube is quite extremely important, because you can be a professor, you can be an equivalent of someone who has a PhD. You can learn a lot, and also on the internet, you can actually visit websites. Most of the information is free, so that is an advantage of this kind of technology and platforms. Um, is one of the benefits. Information is really important. So if you are suffering the cost of living, don't neglect social media at all. Go wherever you need. If you cannot find what you want on my channel, if you are in an emergency situation, you probably will find somewhere else where people are actually giving emergency information. But be careful, because there is also a lot of fraud. If people are actually asking you to click links on their websites, you have to be careful to know that their websites are secure. But if you, I will attempt to actually do a thumbnail, which I'm actually trying to find out how best to do it. I tried to do it, but I haven't been able to do it, because I want to be leaving links and names of organizations on my channel, like the government website gov.uk if you're in the UK, and also like Citizen Advice. I can speak to these organizations if they can give me some specific information. Maybe I can speak to some of these individuals at the council or at the local offices, like the Department from Health and Work, DWP here in the UK. Or maybe the MP's office or local councillor's office. I will attempt to do that in the coming weeks and months. Maybe I can interview them. They can talk about other things, especially people who are experts. I mean, lawyers who can speak to me. I can talk to them. They can talk. I can record them actually talking about things like debt, because debt is a very important aspect of the cost of living, and income is very important. If you work, that is the most important element to solve the cost of living situation, because you actually attribute to your income capability. So work is extremely important in the UK. If you work, keep your job anyway. But so I mean, if you have breathing space, if you want more money, by all means, instead of going to parties, maybe it's time for people to actually take time off partying, going to bars, pubs. I try to explain what a pub is. If you're not in the UK, if in the UK, if I say going to a pub, you will know it like a restaurant. It's actually a bar where you can go and drink alcohol, beer, whiskey. I don't know. Yeah, we can drink whiskey in bars, but they also serve food. They are very social places. And if you're in the UK, the best place to go is actually in a pub. People are friendly. There are risks everywhere. I mean, I've never seen people really. Well, people fight in pubs sometimes. A lot of bad things happen there also. But it's a social enterprising economy, the social area. Uh, it's the best place to go, really. You get affordable food, you drink alcohol, beer, and whatever. There are also discos. Sometimes they do parties there. Um, there's music. People dance. People have a good time. It's a good place to make friends. It's called pub. Pub is a short for public place. Public. It's a public place. It's very old. It's quite historical, and it's part of the British heritage, especially the English. So it is Irish and Scottish, Welsh, name it. So these things actually are some of the things you can do. You can cut down on expenses. If you used to use credit card a lot, maybe you can limit you're using, or with credit card you can actually manage. Think of managing your money more effectively. Write things down, what you need. Only buy what you need. You can write a simple thing like writing a shopping list, which I don't. I will sit here telling you to write a shopping list. If I'm with someone else going to shop, they will most likely going to be right. Actually, people have been writing shopping lists um, for me, but I don't write shopping lists. And I think I should start writing shopping lists because it's going to save me money. There are a lot of things I buy which I might not need, and throwing things away because things actually go out of date, especially in this country. If you're in Africa and you shop in the supermarket have shelf life, which means they go out of date. They expire. So if they expire, you have to throw them away. If you don't, they're going to start rotting in your home. And you don't want your home to rot with food. And also, if you're buying drinks, there are certain drinks which are really expensive. I know people like to look, to have nice things. Um, but a lot of drinks are actually unhealthy. Sugar, with sugar and Fiji drinks. I mean, any drink with a lot of sugar in it probably not good for you. But because you know, uh, you you have to do what you want to do. Except that it's an opportunity also to save some money because some these drinks, they potentially they are healthy, but the problem I have with these drinks actually they're not natural. They are, I mean, as long as you see drinks without sugar, they're probably most likely very healthy. Anyway, fruit juice. I'm talking about fruit juice in the supermarket in wherever, and maybe you can buy juicer. You can buy juicer. Normally, if you are actually going to shop, try to look at things on sale. If you go online, try to look for things on sale. If I don't know about Amazon, because the thing with Amazon, if you're going to buy something from Amazon, maybe you can buy more things. I mean, a lot more things. I mean, if you buy things with much value, with a big value. I mean, if you spend more money, you probably get free delivery. Look out for such things. If you're going to get free delivery, which is going to save you on the cost of those products, and this all every little bits and pieces here and there will make a lot of logic, cost of living logic for households, for the family, and you can do those things. Some people actually have bought dresses and clothes, maybe suits, especially in the UK, and they haven't actually worn it. They only tried it. There are price tags still on the clothes, and they haven't worn it, but they keep buying clothes because they are on sale, which is actually nice. But if you can sell it online, then that's fine. But if not, probably maybe give it to charity. It's going to help somebody else. I mean, if you have the capacity to buy new things, but it's so contradicting if you buy something you like and you have to give it away. Leave a comment below what you think about if you buy something you like and you're not wearing it. You only tried it, you haven't even worn it. Maybe there are 4 or 5. I don't know, maybe you spend £80, £100, and £200, £300 on a dress. Depends on your money. I mean, if you are middle class, you probably earn something like you earn this 40 to 50,000 pounds per annum, and going to 70 to 80,000. That is good money. You can live well. You can buy things on credit. But now, because if you go to the shop, what used to cost maybe £10 is now, I don't know, what used to cost, yeah, like cooking oil in 1 liter, 1 liter of cooking oil, vegetable oil, used to cost, if in a supermarket, used to cost £1, maybe £1.50. Now it's double and triple. You buy it for now nearly £3. You can easily buy 1 liter oil, cooking oil, for £4. That is a lot of money. You know what used to cost 10 is now £20. Maybe £30. That is a lot of money to do normal shopping. And how about clothing? Shoes, clothes, watch. I don't know if I have only one watch. I actually have about 4 or 5 watches, but I don't know where some of them are. I only use one. I only have one watch, and at some point it wasn't working. So because the battery had run out, so I had to pay about £15 to get to just because these watches are made in really funny ways. You can't buy batteries and put it yourself. I remember if you learn to put watches, you can put batteries in watches. You can help your neighbors to put batteries in their watches. You can advertise. You can tell them if you have a watch. I don't think it's going to work, but you can try. I mean, if you can make money, any little money. I said previously about learning how to repair cars. If you like cars, learn to repair cars. I don't know how long it's going to take you to learn it. You can go online. You can surprise yourself. Maybe in 1 week or 2 weeks you can change a carburetor, or you can maybe repair an engine, or I don't know. Because it depends. If you have a garage, you can use it as a repair. In your free time on Saturdays, you can repair an engine. You can buy light tools. I don't know how you're going to repair engines. Maybe you can talk to friends and family and come and work with you. You can learn these kind of skills. So, as to try and deal with the cost of living, because the cost of living can be an opportunity. I mean, imagine you are working Monday to Friday in an office. You're doing your work, normal work. In the weekend, you also repair your neighbors' cars, their brakes. You sometimes changing wheels. I mean, if you have many lady neighbors, they'll probably. I mean, it's going to be really bad to help a lady, your neighbor, to change the wheels and charge them for it. I don't think you should do that. If they need help, if you have a neighbor who need help, because sometimes they actually phone breakdowns, and lady drivers phone breakdowns to change wheels on their car. I don't do that. I change my own wheels. And the ladies can also change their own wheels. A lot of women now change their own wheels. They have wheel spanners in their cars. They have basic tools. Probably the first thing to do is buy some toolbox. Things like charging your car batteries. Charging your car batteries usually by battery chargers, and like putting pressure on your tires, and so on and so forth. And try to, if you work now, try to buy a new car. Buy a new car on finance. If you work, um if you have good income, if you have a good credit record, if you can buy, it's a case of asking a car dealer. as a car dealer, buy a car on finance because the mayor of London, especially the mayor of London. But what happens in London? London is the capital city of England, and there are four regions in the UK: England, Wales, uh, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So these four regions normally tend to copy what England does, and England tend to copy what London does. So if you're in a city in England, if you hear the mayor of London changing policy on transport, and rest assured, your local authority or your city center or city authority, metropolitan authority, maybe your own mayor, is most likely to do the same. The UK will probably be copying what London and England is doing. The rest of the UK, maybe the rest of Europe, the rest of the world. Watch out for changes happening in London because it can go global very quickly. And the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has announced, I think from next month, is going to expand almost everywhere in London. If you live everywhere in London now, you're going to need to drive a new car. Otherwise, there is something called ultra low emission zone. That is actually polluting cars. If your car is old, I think 2008, check for the website, London Mayor's website, and find out the information. I saw it on the BBC. You can go online also. ULEZ. Look for something called ULEZ if you live in London. ULEZ. Ultra low emission zone. You're going to pay, if your car is subject to restriction, you're going to pay £15 every time you drive in London, every day. That is going to be a daily charge. It's £15 per day. As soon as you go out, start your engine, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it's going to be automated. I think there are cameras on the streets. As long as you start driving, the traffic lights are all over the traffic lights now should have cameras. Or I think they already have cameras. There are cameras around the roadside. I know there are cameras in the space anyway, which actually look everywhere in the world. It just need to be the satellite cameras. I don't know how effective they work. I don't know how affordable they are. Well, I mean, for intelligence and wealthy organization and system, I think they can afford it. This is actually the nature of security system now. Globally, it's going to be CCTV and things like that. So all these will be taxes which actually going to impact on the cost of living. Believe it or not, for the mayor of London to come up with this policy is amazing. At a time when people actually a lot more people are relying on their cars. At a time which I believe the congestion charges is also there. I don't know how much it is now. The congestion charge is better than the ULEZ, the ULEZ. Because the ULEZ for polluting cars is 24/7 at night, even in the weekend. But the thing with congestion charges is only at a certain time, during the day actually, in certain zones. So ULEZ is going to be even a worse tax on motorists than congestion charges. Congestion charges, the logic of which, I don't know, maybe congestion, but also I think environmental, environmental requirements. So leave a comment below what you think about in London and probably in the UK and maybe in your country, the kind of environmental policy which is actually impacting on your income, on the cost of living in your life. And there is so much to talk about, and normally there is so little time in which to talk. And I will actually stop this video. My mode of presenting this video is to talk about conflict, is to talk about the cost of living in terms of the conflict, in terms of the war in Ukraine, but also from time to time mentioning the kind of things you can do now to try and solve the problem of the cost of living. Like I said, it is income. Look after your income. If you need to get benefit, if you're in the UK, you know what benefit is. If you're in Europe, if you're in a developed country, you know what benefit is. It's the money given by the government to the citizen or resident of their country. And there are eligibility criteria. Some people get it, some people don't. I mean, if you are an immigrant, you probably won't get it. There's something called no recourse to public fund. If you came here newly, or even if you are settling in the UK, the law has changed now. In previous time, even if as soon as you're in the UK, you get benefit from the government. You get housing help, you get financial help, you get help with transport. Everybody get help with public transport in the UK because the government subsidizes the public transport. Although now, because of privatization, the government is beginning to kind of like withdraw help from private companies. As soon as that happens, as soon as I mean, as long as the government is not giving public money to private companies to provide public services, such we are now seeing with the energy cost, because typically the government should have intervened in the economy when the crisis began. It did intervene, but it did intervene in a bad way. In the sense that the help it gave actually didn't help anyone. What the government should have done, it should have already intervened and increase the level of benefit for everyone. And for now, people get on average actually about £400 per month if you're a single person in benefit, and that it exclude housing costs. Housing costs and your benefit should be assessed together, in my opinion. One payment should go for one person, and there should be no benefit cap for people who need it for essentials like paying rent. The government has put in place is actually introduced something like bedroom tax. Bedroom tax is wrong. The government should actually withdraw it. And I can go on to say that if the government is really keen on helping poor people in this country, it should start building houses for poor people. If you earn £100,000 and below, the government should give you a house for free. Everybody should live in free housing. The government should build houses and give it for people who can't afford it. If you can't afford a mortgage and you work for a living, you should get a free house. If you're single, you should get one bedroom house, and it should not be on a waiting list at all. Now, in the local authority, the waiting list can last 6 to even 10 years. You can wait for a public housing for the rest of your life and you won't get it. And there is no reason, zero reason for waiting list for housing. It is actually a conspiracy. It's a deliberate policy to avoid giving council housing for people. If I say council housing, I mean public house. It's a government house given for people who cannot afford to buy. And everyone in the UK, no one can afford to buy. Because they work for a living, they cannot buy a property unless they borrow money. There's something called mortgage. Mortgage is wrong. In terms of social policy, it's wrong. People should choose to go on a mortgage. And if they choose to go on a mortgage, that's fine. Even if they don't work, if they can afford it, because some people don't work, but they have savings. Some people maybe they can buy a house cash even if they don't work because they have savings. They can buy maybe a house for 500,000 because they have savings. And if you don't have saving or you have saving, you don't want public housing. And I would be surprised if people don't want public housing. People will want some public housing. But if you have public housing and you buy a house, um, then buy a house for rental. I mean, where are you going to rent a house? You are not going to rent out a property. You could, but that will be actually an isolated cases for somebody with money who works for a living, who cannot afford to buy without getting into credit. But if somebody chooses to get a mortgage because they work, because they are eligible, then that is a different thing. If you really own a property, you should not get a public housing. If you bought a house on a mortgage, you should live in your house you have bought. If you want to buy more houses for rental, that is your choice. But you should not get public housing. Anybody who hasn't, people should choose whether or not. I mean, unless the government can actually improve housing policy where people who can afford to get mortgage can buy mortgage. But as soon as they're in trouble, because if you're working, you can lose your job. And the policy now, the government policy now, if you lose your job, you're going to lose your home. That is not right. Because the government should pay you benefit if you are on a mortgage. They should pay your mortgage. Right now, as I speak, you lose your job, you are going to lose your home and you cannot get public housing because you'll be put on a private property which is so expensive. They are poorly managed. They're in a very bad quality. They don't even repair. They don't maintain these places. These places are actually squalors. They're very, very dangerous property. The government is now putting people there. It's negligence, state negligence. And nobody can do anything about it because it's political. The Labour Party is now afraid to talk about it because the Labour Party, when they come to power, they're going to struggle. Because as long as the government changes policy, the state infrastructure, as long as these things are changed, such that you can no longer provide public service and public goods, then there's a problem because the next government will operate on a budget. Because if the economy is already damaged, the system is damaged, such as has happened under the conservative government, in terms of public, because for political reasons, the conservatives do not want to help people. They want to help, but they cannot because of their political philosophy, because of party political interest. They can't do it. That's why you hear them talk about tax cuts, even if you should not cut tax. Now, see, they talk of tax cuts because they are supposed to cut taxes. It's their philosophy. It's the philosophy of the rich, who are actually the few. And they're the ones who fund Conservative Party. They almost own the Conservative Party. The Conservative is a national party, but only just because of the way political parties are funded. They're funded by private individuals. And if they don't fund these political parties, if they don't support these political parties are going to lose out. And politicians don't want to lose their jobs. They want to protect their financial interests as well. It's not just about politics, it's about money as well, about business. Because some of these MPs have private businesses, they have investment in businesses, they are friends with the business community. So it's a very complex system to do with capitalism, which is actually the only system practiced even in Russia. Where we've been talking about the Wagner Group, which I've been talking about as being a capitalistic thing, which is being responsible for a lot of violence in Ukraine. And so we need to pay attention to these things and look after our income, look after our livelihood. Like I said, your job is really important. Your home is very important. Make sure you're paying rent. Make sure if you are in rent areas, negotiate and negotiate and negotiate with your landlord. Get help from the local charities, maybe from the local authority on debt advice. And if you have a bit of money, maybe you can afford a lawyer, a debt advisor who is a solicitor. But normally, still, although there are a lot of waiting time, you wait on the appointments with organizations like Citizen Advice, maybe Shelter, maybe other such organization in the local authority. Try to get help from them. Whatever is still available, try your best to get help. But you need to manage your expectation when you are actually involved with these charities, with your local authority, with the government department. It's not their fault at all. The problem is actually government policy. The government is to blame. Whether they are Labour Party or the Conservative Party, they have to actually start looking after the British people more. And this applies not just in Britain and America, but also in Europe, in the Middle East, and where there is development status as an economic system. You need to help your citizens who need help. This needs to happen at a political level in Africa as well. The people who finance African governments should change their minds. The IMF and the World Bank. And the people who actually fund African governments should police Africa. And because if you give money to a country, police them and make sure they stop being dictators, they stop being violent. Make sure they invest in schools and hospitals. In as much as they are promoting capitalism, the business aspect of the economy, let them also promote social policy objectives such as hospitals, schools, and food investments. Investment in agriculture should be part of the social policy in Africa, and also the supporting of communities to how to use their land is extremely important in Africa, and how to, if there's a registration requirement, it's very important for developed world giving aid, foreign aid to Africa, to, if possible, ring fence some of those foreign aids to support farmers in Africa who are actually smallholders, family-based farming for the purposes of food production domestically, but also commercial, probably. And also, people in Africa who own land should be supported by the government to learn, to provide training on commercial agriculture, on seed technology, on accessing technology like tractors, seeders, and also irrigation system using solar panel and things like generators powered by solar energy system. There's a lot that can be done if if the politicians are actually willing. But I'm seeing that there is an increasing problem with obsession with rule, and the concept of rule is very violent, and that is a major source. That's why there's a lot of problem in Africa. That's also where there's a lot of war. A lot of war in Africa are actually manufactured by powerful states like Britain, America, Europe. They are responsible more than African leaders. African leaders are now powerless because they depend on. I mean, if you don't do what the West and the developed world tell you, they're going to overthrow you. They are mercenaries like the Wagner Group in Africa. They are mercenaries from Europe and from the Western world. They want to control Africa. They want to control the resources in Africa. They're doing that. They can assassinate you if you don't listen to them. And African leaders will actually assassinate you, a citizen of Africa, if you don't listen to the government of Africa. If an African government says, do this, do that, do it, if not, you are going to be assassinated. Because they also copy the same system. I mean, the government, African governments are now like they're behaving like private armies. They only listen to one man or one woman, the head of state, the president of the country, and the elites, the political elite of the country. They are concentrating more and more power into their hands. And with this, they're using this power to wreak a lot of violence. Because the thing about rule is that you have to use violence. There is no other way to rule over other people. The state will always be violent, but the purpose of campaigners, civil campaigners, and these peace campaigners, should be to put pressure as much as possible. But if you're going to put pressure on somebody with so much power, somebody who is actually a dictator, because world governments are dictators, even in the developed world, I mean, democracy is there, but democracy is not strong enough globally. Even in America, even in the UK, even in Europe, these are actually leading democracies. But even here, there's dictatorship, there's civil dictatorship. And to say civil dictatorship means you use civil instruments, civil power directly. But in Africa, when we talk about military dictatorship, actually that is raw power used directly. In civil system, like developed world in democracies, in modern democracies, the civil system is actually backed by the army and the air force and people like mainly the army. The army is really the driving force behind capitalism, the driving force behind democracy. There is always a force to do with the military. That's why I'm talking about militarism in this video, to try and remind people that somewhere along the line, militarism is a deciding factor, even in a democracy like the Western world. Without the army, the government cannot function. Without the police, for example, you can't run the country without the police and the military. And although these are actually operated by wealth, by capitalism, capitalism is about wealth. So capitalism has been effective in running the state because of wealth. Because you can pay the military, you can pay mercenaries like the Wagner Group, which I've been talking about, which probably I will continue talking about more specifically tomorrow. I'm going to stop this video here. Uh, um, Subscribe to my channel, and remember to subscribe and share. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.